in these people's eyes. The people that I used to have to screen their calls, I couldn't get to take mine. I thought it was interesting in the USA Today, it said, what tempts men and women? And out of a survey of 3,000 U.S. adults, they identified the differences and the similarities between what men and women say tempts them the most. Sex. Men, 50%. That's not nearly way out of that picture, is it? Men are tempted. I mean, they are. That's who they are. They are the dogs that people think that they are. It's true. I mean, I'm not speaking out of school. Renee's up there smiling at me. Renee, you're tempted every once in a while, aren't you? I mean, you see a pretty guy and you go, wow. I mean, boing, the eyes go like this, you know. Ernie's not laughing up there at all. Okay, now. That's because Chris is sitting next to him. Okay. Sex, 50% for men, 22% for women. 22%. See, gals, you got an eye. Food, men, 29%. Women, uh-oh, here goes. 56%. Get out of the refrigerator. Have that little cow, you know, the little piggy pig in the grocery in the thing. Money, oh, men, 14%. Women, 15%. Alcohol, men, 7%. Women, 2%. Power, men, 2%. This is out of a study that USA Today. I didn't do this. Men are only tempted by power, 2%. Women, 7%. Lies. Listen, we're praying for you, Brittany. Yeah, no. I mean, they're very specific in their things. I thought it was interesting when they did this study, they also extended a study to age groups. Addiction. This is a study that they did in 2008. 5 million participated in 2008 that they queried on a 12-step addiction program. Excuse me. Participants by age, 12 to 7, I'm okay, Kathy. 12 to 17, 12 to 17-year-olds. 12 to 17-year-olds. How old is he? How's Kenny? 15. 12 to 17. 5% of that 5 million. Think about that number, folks. We're already in a 12-step program for addiction and addictive behaviors. 18 to 25, 15%. How many of you would fit in the category 18 to 25 in this church? Let me see your hands. Hands, 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 hands. Big hands. Okay. How many are in the age group 26 to 49? 57% of that 5,000 were in the 26 to 49 category. Over 50, 23%. Here are some of the addictive things that we will do in order to be accepted by people. You probably already know them. But these addictive behaviors cost money, they cost personal relationships, and they cost you socially. Alcohol, illicit drugs, sex, gambling, tobacco products, pornography, work, alcoholism, food, TV, spending money, spendaholics, rage, anger, video games, obsessive behaviors of all kinds. And if you don't have one of those, you will have one of these. How those behaviors ink out in our life? Resentment. Don't anybody raise your hand on that one because I'm praying for you all. Resentment, fear, repressed or inappropriate anger. Anybody ever had a fit of anger come out? Whew. Addictive behaviors are behind that. Approval seeking, caretaking, control. Oscar, is it you that's hiding your face, or am I just reading out your list as I'm going through? fear of abandonment, fear of authority figures, frozen feelings, isolation, low self-esteem, overdeveloped sense of responsibility. You're responsible for everything. Irresponsibility, a polar opposite. Inappropriately expressed sexuality. Think about our community. I've been pastoring since 1981 in this city. And every time I've asked somebody that was addicted to a substance, I said, can you quit? Can you stop doing that? And their answer has always been this: I can stop anytime I want to. I said, so when are you going to want to? Second Corinthians 1 verse 9. Indeed, our hearts felt the sentence of death, the old Pharaoh, the addiction, the inappropriate behaviors, the anger, the resentment, the fear, that old thing. Our hearts felt that. But this happened that we might not rely on ourselves, but on God who raises the dead. God. Paul knew this. He knew addictive qualities. He had them. He was willing to own up and admit it. 2 Corinthians 3:5. Not that we are competent in ourselves to claim anything for ourselves, but our competence came from God. Our strength comes from Him. You know what? Ephesians 4:22 through 24. You were taught, with regard to your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, addictive issues, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on a new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. That's what you were created to be. God created you to be free. He created you to be set free from all of the old trompings and trappings of the old world, the old Egypt. He not only promised you prosperity in the new life with Him, but He also promised you health. You see, but it takes admitting that, you know what, I'm still living in part of that old stuff. I still want some of that old Egypt to go along with me. I still need it to be comfortable. I still need that old thing when you're telling God, you're not enough. You're not enough for me. I still need this old crap from the old world. I still need that. I still need to be able to get angry when I want to. When it says anger, be angry and sin not. That doesn't mean to get angry like that. That's to be mad at the devil who would cause you to do that. I think about our community, and I think about what Shaw said this morning, the treasure that they are. The treasure. And the only way you can tell somebody how big of a treasure they are is to tell them how much God treasured you in delivering you from your Egypt. But see, it takes willing to admit you were there. How can you be delivered from Egypt if you never went? How can you ever say, well, God saved me from my old junky life, if you never admitted that you had one? You know, Romans will help you there. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. So there you've got the entrance and exit from that old Egypt right there. You can go in and out in one verse. But folks, if you don't have any of those addictive behaviors or the behavior that comes as a result of those, I'm sure your personal world is filled with them. You know people that need help. You do? if not you yourself. It took me a long time to get well. And I am still working on that. I'm still working on it. Because what happened in 45 years doesn't turn around in a day. Doesn't turn around in a day. So every once in a while, I start feeling like that old Egypt is wanting its eerie fingers creeping back into my life, and I have to remember instantly of what God has done for me. He brought me out of that. I don't have to go back there. I don't have to feel those feelings anymore. I have been set free. I have had a renewed mind, and I can live without all that. It's interesting, step 1 in a 12-step program says, in order to get well, you first off have to admit that you need help and that you are helpless and that your life has become unmanageable because of this Egypt. And I'll tell you, God wants you free. God wants you free. He loves you enough to treasure you, to say, I have positioned people around you that will love you enough to let you be who you are and get out of all of that old Egypt and get out of the Egypt out of you so that you can be who God created you to be. That's the reason why God wanted them to go by the bitter waters. He wanted to get all the old Egypt parasites out of them. He wanted them out of Egypt, and he wanted the parasites out of them. God not only wants you set free, he wants you whole inside and out. And I want to tell you something. We are starting a 12-step program here. And it will help every single person. I don't care if you think that you haven't had one of those addictive personalities. I guarantee you, you've been touched by one and it affects your life like that water streaming down that concrete. It's still there. So I want to share with you that coming up, I plan on teaching, and Mark's going to help me. We're going to do a 12-step program that's a spiritual program based on God, not the God of our own understanding, but we're going to base it on God, and it's a tremendous book. And I'll tell you something, if you're interested in being set free from the old stuff,